When you think about the global economy, your mind probably jumps to tech, right? Or finance. But what about something as fundamental, maybe even unexpectedly massive, as pine wood? Today we're doing a deep dive into the global pine wood market. Our mission really is to pull out the key insights on its size, share, and future prospects. We're using verified data here from Cognitive Market Research. The aim is to give you a clear picture, without drowning you in raw numbers. Just what's most interesting. Okay, let's unpack this fascinating market. We've got some incredible data points here, really showing how big and how fast this thing is growing.
Yeah, and what's really compelling, I think, is how that big global picture actually breaks down. You see these unique regional stories emerging. So we're going to explore those patterns, try to connect the dots for you, and see what it all means for the broader economy.
Right. So let's kick off with the headline Global Figures, just to set the scale. This is definitely not some small niche market we're talking about. Global sales revenue was over $30.5 billion back in 2021. And get this projection. It's expected to jump to nearly $40 billion by 2025 and then really climb up to a whopping $67.8 billion by 2033.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a compound annual growth rate, the TAGR, of 6.87%, which basically means the market's projected to more than double in value over this time frame.
That overall growth rate, that 6.87%, it speaks volumes, doesn't it, about just consistent global demand. It makes you ask, well, what underlying factors could be pushing such steady expansion pretty much everywhere? It really suggests a kind of foundational strength in the industry is using pine wood.
Okay, so diving into the regions now, North America, it holds a really substantial piece of this pie. Its growth story is quite interesting too.
Oh, absolutely. North America alone brought in over $12.1 billion in 2021, and it's projected to nearly double, hitting around $24.7 billion by 2033. That's a solid CAGR, 6.09%. Now, the U.S., as you probably guess, is the biggest single market. It was over $9 billion in 2021, heading towards $17.7 billion by 2033. Canada is showing very healthy growth too, from about 2.1 billion up to 4.6 billion. But what's particularly striking, I think, is Mexico. It started just under a billion in 2021, but it's forecast to expand to over 2.4 billion by 2033. That's a really strong 7.699% CAGR.
Almost 7.7%, yeah.
Exactly. That kind of accelerated growth in Mexico probably points to some significant industrial and construction development happening down there.
Interesting. Okay, so moving across the Atlantic now, Europe, another major player. What's the picture look like over there?
Well, Europe as a whole, it contributed over 8.1 billion in 2021, and projections take it to more than 17.4 billion by 2033. So that's growing at a 6.46% CAGR. Pretty solid. You've got the key players, the UK, Germany, France, Italy, all showing steady, consistent increases. Demand is clearly there.
Right, the big economies.
Yes. But if you connect this to the bigger picture, it's actually some of the, let's say, smaller markets showing spurt pricing acceleration. Spain, for instance, growing at almost 7.9%. Denmark actually has the highest European CAGR, nearly 8.4%. Switzerland's strong too at 8%. And maybe most surprising, the collective rest of Europe category shows the strongest European growth overall at 8.65%.
Wow, that's unexpected.
It is a bit. It suggests that while the major economies provide the stable base, these other markets are experiencing a bit of a quiet boom, maybe more targeted growth.
Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting, I think, especially when you look at future growth potential. Let's talk Asia Pacific. What makes this region such a powerhouse?
Asia Pacific is, well, unequivocally the robust growth engine for pine wood right now. It was over 6.4 billion back in 2021, but it's projected to absolutely soar, hitting over 17.1 billion by 2033. That reflects a really strong 8.44% CGR overall for the region.
Huge growth.
Huge. And China is undeniably leading that charge. It grew from about 2.3 billion in 2021, projected to hit 6.6 billion by 2033. That's an 8.9% CAGR. Just massive urbanization, ongoing infrastructure, needs driving that.
Makes sense for China.
It does. But what's truly remarkable, maybe the most eye-opening stat in this whole data set, is India. India started at just under $700 million in 2021. It's projected to reach over 2.1 billion by 2033. Now get this. That's the highest regional CCGR across the entire globe, an astonishing 9.81%.
9.8%. Wow.
Right. Its explosive growth, it just highlights India's rapid economic development, its massive population, and, that huge demand for construction materials. And other significant countries are contributing too, of course. Japan's growing steadily from 1.3 billion to nearly 3 billion. Plus, you see healthy expansion in South Korea, Australia, Southeast Asia as well.
That India number is really something else. Okay, so let's round out the global picture. We need to look at
Yeah.
South America, the Middle East, and Africa. Are we seeing similar kinds of expansion there?
We are, yes. These regions are definitely, let's say, expanding horizons for the market. South America, for example, projected to more than double. It was over 1.5 billion in 2021, heading towards 3.6 billion by 2033. That's a strong 7.38% CAGR. And Brazil is leading the way there with an 8.04% CAGR, probably linked to its resources and developing industries.
Okay, and the Middle East.
Also expanding significantly from 1.2 billion in 21 up to over 2.8 billion by 2033. That's a 7.52% CAGR. You've got Saudi Arabia, Turkey making strong contributions, and notably, Qatar shows a very high CAGR, 8.63%, likely points to specific large-scale development projects happening there.
Right, maybe infrastructure related to events or diversification.
Could be. And finally, Africa. It shows consistent growth, too. Just under a billion in 2021, projected to pass 2 billion by 2033. That's a 6.01% CAGR, with key markets like Nigeria and South Africa driving that demand.
So, quite a global story unfolding. Okay, let's bring it all together. What does all this data really mean for you, our listener, if you're following global markets, resource trends, beyond just the big numbers? What's the big takeaway here?
Well, I think what's truly fascinating looking at this cognitive market research data is just how consistent, how steady, and how widespread this growth is. It's not just one region booming while others lag. It's really this multifaceted expansion across the globe.
Yeah, you see it everywhere.
Exactly. We saw North America holding its large, stable share. Then you have Asia Pacific, especially India and China, acting as these powerful engines for future growth, clearly driven by urbanization, infrastructure, and even, as we mentioned, smaller European nations showing remarkable acceleration, hints at maybe more targeted industrial or construction booms.
Right.
So if you connect all that to the bigger picture, these trends tell us something important. They show that the demand for really fundamental commodities like kindwood is a powerful indicator, often overlooked, perhaps, an indicator of underlying global economic development and maybe even stability, even when other sectors seem a bit shaky.
So it's like a bedrock indicator.
It could be seen that way, yeah. It's just a testament to the ongoing fundamental need for building, for manufacturing, for general consumption, really, all around the world.
It's amazing. We've seen how this seemingly humble material, pine wood, is actually at the heart of a massive and consistently growing global industry.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder, isn't it, that sometimes the most foundational materials tell the most compelling stories about the global economy.
Absolutely. And it leaves you with a thought, doesn't it, given this deep dive? What does this incredibly widespread, consistent growth in a foundational commodity like pine wood truly tell us about the underlying resilience, the expansion of global construction, manufacturing, these core industries? It kind of makes you wonder if these steady, tangible markets are, in fact, the true bedrock of our global economic landscape, even during uncertain times.
Something to think about. Keep seeking out those aha moments, because there's always more to learn about the forces shaping our world, often in places you least expect.